Welcome to the We as Citizens podcast. Here is your host, Christina Crowley.
Welcome to the podcast. Today I have with me Tara Eusibe. She is the founder and chief blesser of Bless, which is an app that is created to help people. Tara is changing the world one need at a time. The motto is share a need, meet a need, and it's a fabulous app. And thank you for coming and being on the show.
Thank you for having me. What a privilege and honor to be with you once again. I'm super excited about our conversation today.
Well, thank you for being here again. And you live in Orange County, and how long have you lived there?
I have now, well, let's see, I was actually born here. Then when I was 3 years old, my parents moved us up to Northern California. And then I think it's been 10, 11 years now since I've been back in Southern California.
Wow. And you live in Costa Mesa, and I've lived in LA, and it's a beautiful town on the coast, as are most of those towns on the coast down in Southern California. And tell us a little bit about your life away from the app, away from what you're doing with Bless.
Sure. With COVID, everything's kind of come to a screeching halt. We know things are just beginning to kind of start to open up. I do love visiting the beach. I don't do it often enough, even though it's literally right down the street from me. It's not far at all. I'll go there if I have someone visiting, but on the regular, I do not. I would love to do runs on the beach, but again, it's the effort of getting there and just time in the day. So it's not a priority for me to do. The weather we have here, you can't complain. I mean, it's just nearly perfect. And so I love being outdoors when I can, and spending time with my niece who just turned 2 years old.
Oh.
She's just a joy, and just mainly spending time with family. There's not really a ton of extracurricular that we do at this point with things being so closed up. But even prior to COVID, I'm a pretty simple person. I'm a hard worker. So when I do get to that downtime, it's more of just like a chillaxing, maybe watching a movie or just whatever, but just deep decompressing and letting the mind just relax. For a little bit, I started to learn the piano, but I haven't been able to pick that back up. I've just been too busy, but that is in my heart to do. I love listening to the piano, and to learn how to play it is just something that is definitely something I want to keep pursuing. So yeah.
That's really interesting. And so tell us a little bit about Bless and how we'll talk about how that came together, but tell us how it works.
Sure. Bless is an app that I created for humanity. It's a free gift. It's an app where people can go, they can share their needs. It could be a need of any kind, because we all have needs, no matter what level of life you're at, whether you're well off or whether you're not so well off. We all have a need, and Bless is a place where you can actually share a need without judgment, and where you can also offer to meet the needs of others, which is like my favorite part. I love helping people. Bless was born out of my passion for wanting to do that. And so it provides a place where you don't have to wait for a need to be shared. You can actually get on there and say, hey, I want to help this way. So whether you want to lend a helping hand, or you have clothes that you want to bless somebody with, or an extra refrigerator or couch or a bed, whatever it could be, whatever you can think of that you have that you want to set out to give on purpose, with purpose, to change lives and impact generations. That's what this application is for. We're really wanting to cultivate a culture where people are kind of like retrained back to our roots, where we realize we do need each other, and we're certainly better and stronger together.
Yeah, because it wasn't that long ago that if you knew a neighbor needed something, they would ask, and if you could do for your neighbor as you would want them to do for you. So I think that's really powerful of you to say it. But how did you start Bless? Tell us that story. I think it's fabulous and interesting.
I love the story too. It thrills my heart. It was crazy in a way to even think that I'm in this position doing what I'm doing right now. Growing up, my parents always taught me to be a hard worker. I've been diligent in every job that I've ever held. I feel like I'm there until death, unless God tells me to move on from there. I'm just a loyalist like that. And so I held job after job after job, didn't have really clear direction graduating from junior college years ago, but just got a job because it's what you're supposed to do. You need to be responsible. So that was the life that I had been living until 2017, when I was asked a question that changed my whole course. And it was just such a simple question, but it's one that I don't think enough of us take the time to ponder or even ask ourselves. And the question was, what is your passion? What is it that you ultimately want to do? You know, if money was no object, what would you do? And instantly I said, if I could do anything, I would just go bless people. And I just started listing off all these people that I would go and help if I didn't have to go to work. And then I went off to work, and that idea and that passion on the inside just started to spring up. And it would be a few months later that I'd be in the grocery store just picking up a few things, and I had this thought, you know, if you knew that the person you're passing here in the market had a need that you could help with, would you help? And I thought, well, yeah, I would totally help, but how can I know what people really need? And that was the moment when the vision for Bless as a mobile app started to come alive on the inside. And I thought, you know what? We need a mobile application where people can go quickly, share their needs, or offer help, where we can bring communities together to help one another in every part of the world. My target market is humanity, which is wild. I mean, this is so unconventional, breaking every business rule out there. But I found that the only way to get unconventional results is to do something unconventional. And that's really what Bless is about.
And so, what I would think from the outside looking in, that the hardest part of it would be finding people these days who it's all about looking good to admit, I need some help, because I drive a nice car, but people wouldn't know that I need help. And I think it would be getting beyond for someone who, from the all outward appearances, needs something and can admit it.
Right. And that is a challenge. But what I found with people that have need, even if you are doing well, we all have something. Maybe you need someone to talk to, right? Maybe you don't have anyone to go on a walk with you. Maybe you just need a shoulder to lean on. Maybe you need some advice and you just don't want to pay for it without the strings attached, right? Because
Yeah.
everything has a string attached. So
Yeah.
let's get back to the heart of who we are in helping one another. But what I found is that people that have needs, they always share with somebody. They may not
Yeah.
want to get on Bless and share, but they're always going to tell somebody. And if you happen to be that somebody and you can't help them, then what you can do is help facilitate the meeting of that need by sharing it on Bless with their permission. That was actually the first need that I shared on the app when we launched back in 2019, was for someone else. You know, this young lady that I knew with a really new family, 4 babies, single mom, a lot going on. And I just checked in on her. I'm like, how are you doing? She's like, you know, 3 of my 4 kids don't have beds to sleep on. I love telling this story because it's so powerful. And I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me? We live in Southern California. You know that there are mattresses and garages just in this neighborhood that they don't need, right? So it's just, if people knew. So I said, can I share this need on Bless? And she said, yes. Now she wasn't going to do it herself. I knew she wouldn't, because you don't want people to see what we think is weakness, but need isn't weakness. Need is life. I mean, this is the life we live. We all, on the daily, there's something that we have need of beyond what we're able to do ourselves. And we're really designed to need each other. That's an okay thing. I know people don't kind of comprehend that these days, and they think we have to be so self-sufficient, and because we've been disappointed, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we know there's a reality here, but this is where we're really wanting to retrain humanity to say, look, let's give each other another chance, right? Let's see the goodness that's inside each one of us. So I shared the need on Bless. And within a week, when we had just launched, this app was infant brand new. And within 1 week, Christina, I was delivering mattresses to this mama and her family. She was in tears. The kids were so excited. They couldn't even wait for sheets to get on the bed before they were just jumping on those mattresses, just excited they had some place to lay their head at night.
Yeah.
This is the power of bless. This is the power that we have inside of us as individuals. If only we knew what people really needed, would you help, right? And bless provides that platform where people can know and do something about it.
Because it's not always dollars. I mean, it's wonderful that you were able to get the mattresses, but it may have been something that somebody already had, somebody already purchased. And I like that it isn't always just about a monetary thing. Somebody to listen to. That's really, you can't put a price on that.
Right. And I really wanted to steer bless in a way away from it always being about money, because people a lot of times think that money is the answer. And I disagree. I think most of the time money is not the answer, that if you really were to evaluate what the true root of that need is, you'll find money will not fix it. And so, but first I thought, we'll put in a system on bless where people can send money to each other or whatever. And then I thought, you know what? This is not a GoFundMe. No, we want to retrain humanity and really change the way people think. And even in the midst of need, what we're doing now is we're really wanting to encourage people, even in the midst of your roughest need. I don't care if you're homeless out there.
Yeah.
We all have something to give. Oh my gosh, when you point this out to people, they do one of two things. They either wake up and go, oh my gosh, you're right. I do have something to give, whether it's a helping hand, a listening ear, or when I look around, I actually have more material goods than I even need, even though I'm in a state of need right now. I have something to give. They either see it or they go, how dare you point this out to me, right? And then they leave the app. And I'm okay with that. Why? Because we want to see people's lives get better. And I want to help people that want to be helped. And so we're cultivating this culture on bless and bringing this awareness to people that if we see them just posting needs and being blessed over and over, okay, well, let's see what you have that you can give back and that you can set out to give on purpose, with purpose, to change lives, not get rid of, right? Because we've really adopted that mentality of the get rid of mentality. We want to purge and, I got to get rid of. There's nothing wrong with getting rid of, but there's a lot more power in those items when you set out to give them on purpose, with the intent of changing lives. I've watched it happen. I've watched an iPad sitting, gaining, and just piles of dust on it because it's been sitting there for years unused. And I've watched it get shared on Bless and change the life of a high school student because they needed that tool. So that's the difference between putting it in a bag out on the curb for somebody to pick up and setting out to really make a difference in someone's life with something so simple. And it doesn't even have to be that. I've had so many people's lives impacted just by messaging them to check in on them. Maybe they have a need that I can't meet. And I'll just reach out and say, you know what, how are you doing? Is there anything else that I can help you with? And they're floored. They're like just so blessed. They're like, your kindness is what I need. This is the reality of the simplicity of how easy it is to change somebody's life on the daily.
And as good as it feels to receive when you really need something and you don't have a way of doing it yourself, to be blessed by someone, it's got to feel just as good to watch those people who give and know that it's going to somebody who so needs it.
There's no feeling like it, honestly. So if you're the one being blessed, you're the recipient. We know that that's great, right? We experience that at birthdays and Christmas, whatever. We have that feeling when we receive gifts like that, or even just an unexpected kind word, right? That you're just, or someone holds the door open for you. Does that not like totally make your day? This is so easy. Or a stranger smiles at you, right? So when you're the one smiling at them, when you're the one holding the door open, when you're the one giving, oh my gosh, I call it the ultimate bad day cure, for real. Yeah. You want to cure any bad day, set out to be a blessing to somebody else. Just as soon as you think I'm going to go bless somebody, your whole day changes. The switch flips and you're on your way up.
It is a ripple effect too. We forgot about the simplicity of basic kindness, of I guess that's kind of what you could call this, but I think it's something more. There's a little something more magical about it.
Definitely. And I love to call it like purposeful acts of kindness. Like you are being intentional with what you're doing and how you're doing it. And it takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit more patience to find that right person. It takes a little bit more effort. But at the end of the day, when you realize that you have made an impact in someone's life and they've made an impact in yours for the better, and you don't know how the effect you had on them is going to impact the people around them. So just, I think it was last week or the week before, I reached out to someone on Bless, an elderly lady. She said they were in her 80s, her and her husband. I thought, Bless, that is so wonderful. She even on Bless, like, look at that. If she can do it, come on, anybody can do it. She had shared a need for a washer and dryer because they were moving. And I don't have one to give. I just wanted to check in on her. So I did. How are you doing? Did you find anything yet? Is there any other way I can help you? And then I said, you know what? If you need help moving, please let me know. I'll come and lend a helping hand. I have no problem doing that. Like I love to help people that way. That's what I just love it. It's like a thrill. And she wrote back, she said, I'm in tears that you would even offer. What did I even do? Nothing but just be kind to somebody with an intention of making a difference in her day, in her life. And you know, if it brought her to tears, that she told somebody else about that interaction that we had and that it impacted them. So don't underestimate the power that you have on the inside to make a difference in someone's life that will ripple out and impact other people. We can, I mean, we want to change the world. We can do it.
It's so true. How does it feel to have spoken what your passion would be and now be living it?
It's amazing. I know my purpose. I know why I'm on the planet. It's just such a fulfilling time of my life. Let's see, I'm 43 now. So this happened, I think it's been 3 years ago since I left corporate in 2018. I quit my job and walked away from 6 figures to help people with a free app.
Yeah.
How do you do that? It's a miracle. It's every day a miracle. But you know what? I'm having the time of my life. Why? Because I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I realized that humanity, all of humanity, was waiting for me to step into this. They need this gift from me. They need the talent that I have. And the same goes for everyone listening. There's something on the inside of you that humanity is waiting for you to give birth to. People need what you have to give. And once you tap into that passion, you're going to find out real quick, wow, this is why I'm on planet Earth. Now I can go through every day with a thrill. I don't have to like drag myself out of bed in the morning dreading the day.
Yeah.
I have the whole entire world is relying on me to keep propelling this mission forward. They're relying on me to retrain them in this direction. And there are other people out there like me that want to help me get the job done. So that's even better.
Because I think your message overall, all of it is powerful, and that you are a very successful person, but you decided to change your life immensely and for the better, and you can do it. That anybody can just go, that is what I need to do. That is what I want to do. And you can. It's inspiring.
Definitely. And you can do it. You can do it. But it doesn't mean it's all easy. But you can tell every time I talk about Bless, I can't help but get so passionate. It's my passion. Everyone knows it. You can sense it. You can feel it. You can hear it in my voice, right? You can see it on my face. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. But it doesn't mean there weren't moments and sometimes aren't still moments of challenge. But I'll tell you, Christina, as I grow on the daily, it's becoming easier and easier just to flow and to make sure that every day I'm taking tactical steps. I love to encourage people to do tactical, purposeful steps. Don't fill your plate to fill your plate. Don't do it. Don't put on your plate what everyone else says should be on your plate. Only you know what the vision is, the mission is, and you're the one responsible for keeping all the extra goodies off the plate so that you can manage it, and you'll find that you're living every day a lot better.
And so the person who asked you that question, have you seen them since you
Yes,
started this?
because it
And
was my mom.
oh,
It was my mom. She changed my
oh,
life with that.
yeah.
Moms are so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so she's watched this. And you know what? At first, I think she thought, oh God, what's happening here? Because I'm like, okay, I'm going to quit my job. Thank God she's a woman of faith, and she trusts God, and she knows like the life I live, and she trusts me, and my family have been supportive the whole way. But that's still, you're sitting there going, what? And then in the beginning, not fully understanding the vision, the mission, where is this going? What are you going to do with this? When I first said to her I would just go bless people, she told me later, she said, I thought, how can she do anything with that? And
Yeah.
now look. And so it's amazing. So she's been able to watch firsthand this journey, and it's inspired her.
And so I do this because I want to talk with people who we might have some preconceived notions about. And it seems like you know what certain things like that are about people, that this preconceived notion about wanting to be blessed, that there are strings attached and there aren't. And talk a little bit more about how do you are there certain things you do to break through that with people? uh because I'm certain some people just cannot believe that you don't want something back, that there's not a string attached, and I'm sure you've heard it all.
Yeah, the main thing is just to lead by example and show them. And it floors people. They are in disbelief oftentimes when I say, look, this is a free gift for humanity. There aren't any ads to distract from its purpose and content, that we aren't collecting your data to resell it. Find one other app in the App Store or on Google Play that doesn't collect your data to resell it or do something with it. That's not what we're about. Why? Because this is about humanity. This is for the people. And so what I found is I just have to show them by example. And when I show up to people's houses and they know, they find out I'm the one that created it, they're like, what, like, why are you're the founder? And I'm like, yeah, but I love doing this. So this is what I do. I'm the chief blesser for a reason. This is my thrill. And that happened pretty recently when someone shared a need about having trouble setting up their Amazon Fire Stick. I was like, I'll come help you. I could do
Yeah.
that literally all day. That to me is a beautiful need to have, a beautiful need to meet. Like what, like how amazing, right? You think, gosh, that's so simple. How many people are there out there like that can't do the technical stuff? Maybe
Mhm.
they can't reach behind the
Yeah.
TV. Maybe they just don't have it's so many little steps, right? But for us young kids, it's a lot easier. And so I went and did that. Spent maybe, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes with her, got to hear her story,
Yeah.
got to encourage her. She says, "You're the founder?" I'm like, yeah, isn't it wonderful that I get to come here? She was shocked. She was shocked. And I've had that happen numerous times where people are just in disbelief that you created this app and you're boots on the ground working this app. Like that is amazing. And so it's setting that example, Christina, and just showing people like not everyone is what you think they are.
Yeah.
There are good people with pure motives that really do want to make an impact with no strings attached. And when they find this out, when they see that we've even put security measures in place on Bless to keep people safe, we call it vouch for me. It's super
Yeah.
important. I've had like 78 people vouch for me. That's pretty good. That
Yeah.
should show you that, hey, this person
Yeah.
is got good things going here. Like they can be trusted, right? And so we put those measures in place to make sure that people feel safe and feel comfortable and can know that this is someone that's the real deal. And that's the example I'm setting for the whole world to see. Use vouch for me. Come be a part of this and start making a difference in other people's lives.
And I'm sure some people who go, well, it must all come easy for you. You were born in California, beautiful California. You're educated, you're pretty, you're young. It must all come easy for you.
They probably think that, but you know what? I work hard.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I work hard, nothing in life comes without a fight. I don't think. I mean, you have to fight, whether it's the good fight of faith you're fighting or whether you're fighting just to wake up in the morning and motivate yourself to keep going. And that happens. What I found the easiest thing for me is to keep the vision in front of me. And when I look at the
Yeah.
world and I look at the people and the compassion continues to rise up on the inside, it becomes easier and easier. But people may think somehow I've been handed everything. It is not true. I've had to work and I've had to take risk and I've had to do things that have stretched me, that continue to stretch the way I think. The habits that I've developed have had to change over time, more and more, time and time again, to where we become uncomfortable in the misery we're in and realize that if you want to make a change, change isn't change without change. Not everyone
Yeah.
wants to make the change to see the change, right? But it takes in any time you have to change, even if it's your decision to do it, it's work. And so even leaving corporate, okay, you think, oh, look at you. Now you have your own time, your own free schedule. I spent months when I left my job feeling guilty that I was working from home, that I could have flexibility in my schedule. I was working harder than I had before. I mean, I get up earlier than I ever did when I worked in corporate, right? And people don't see that. They don't see the early
Yeah.
mornings. They don't see the work into the night hours when they're clocking out at 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
So there are different sacrifices that are made. And hopefully just people see my heart and my example and they realize that, okay, there's something definitely different about this gal. She's something special there for sure.
And I think that's an overall theme that with the people who I've talked to who are successful, they really you amongst the others, you work really hard and it doesn't come without failures that everybody has.
Yeah, there are always challenges for
Yeah.
sure.
And but it sounds like you just keep your eyes on the prize, on you keep moving forward, even though, yeah, there's failure. You accept that. It seems like you accept that as part of the process.
Yeah, I personally don't feel like I've seen failure, and that might sound really strange, but I have had this vision so before me and have been diligent from the beginning to really take tactical steps. There have been lessons learned for sure. There have
Yeah.
been things that have come up that we weren't like prepared for because look, I stepped out of a career that had nothing to do with this. I'm not a humanitarian. I'm not someone that's even has a big resume of community service. I mean, I've served in my church throughout my life, different ways I'd help family and friends, but you won't see this resume of me working at every food bank or helping the homeless. It's not there. This is just a regular person who was working in corporate that realized, oh my gosh, my passion's really for helping people. Let me create a tool for me to do that. Oh, and I'll just share it with the world. That's
Yeah.
really what happened here. And so I don't think that I've really had failures, but there have been plenty of lessons to learn from and say, okay, how are we going to do this moving forward so that that doesn't happen again? And we've made quite a few adjustments to ensure, even with the app and different lessons learned there. But nothing that I could really see has been a failure in this journey. I think when you know it's your passion and you do see that end result that you're fighting for, that it's just a different perspective.
Yeah.
You just realize that there's a process and you have to learn along the way. You have to lay a foundation. I mean, one thing that I work on continually is being patient in the process because I do see the end. I see Bless Global. I see it being used in every household. I see it being bigger even than Facebook, where it's a household name. Everybody's life has been touched through it somehow, where Blessed trucks are making deliveries and going and helping people. I mean, I can see these Blessed supply houses throughout the world, on and on and on, right? And we're
Yeah.
not there yet, right? So you it's opportunity some days to go, oh, well, maybe it's not working. No, it's working. We're laying the foundation. We're building a strong, solid foundation, because if you've ever tried to throw walls up without a foundation, you'll find out real quick that house is going to come on down. So we're doing this methodically. We're doing this accurately, and we're doing it in a way where it'll be solid for generations to come.
Do you see this is our way back to our humanity. I mean, never have we ever been perfect as people, but we've been better as people than we are now.
Yeah, I think of world events and different things that occur even in our nation where we've been attacked or where our freedoms have been threatened and where natural disasters have happened and it's caused us to band together. I think of that because that right there is the heart of humanity. That's who we really are. And people need to be reminded that we can do this on the daily and it'll make us stronger when those events occur, because we know they're going to happen again, right? There's going to be things that occur that cause devastation in areas that we can't control. But what we can control is how close we are to our neighbor, how much help we offer our community. And we can do it all through Bless, which is super cool because you can do it your way, the way you want to help anytime you want to do it. It doesn't have to be on a schedule. It's the way you want to do it. Even if it's offering a helping hand, a listening ear, or giving some of those things away that have served you well that you no longer need.
Yeah, it inspired me. You send a message out weekly, bi-weekly, and it pops up on my phone and I read it, and it does remind me to be a nicer person. It really
That's
does.
the goal.
Because I met you, we were at the probably one of the worst parts of COVID, and we talked, and I was frustrated as all can be. And I can tell you that getting those messages, the how are you doing? This is new on Bless. It does remind me to be a nicer person.
That's wonderful. That's an encouragement for me, actually. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that, and this is what people need to know, that we can on the day, we do need to be reminded
Yeah.
because it's very quick for us to flip over and become so selfish again, right? It's almost become our norm, but we're
Mhm.
better than that. We
Yeah.
really are. When we get down to the root of who we are, we're not selfish. We want to be selfless. We want to help someone else. We want to give them a hand up, right? This is really who we are. So we just need this reminder. And I'm the one that so happens to be in charge of doing that right now. So I feel really grateful. It's a privilege to remind humanity of how good we really are and how strong we are together and that we need each other and that you can share a need and you can offer help and you can start to rebuild trust with people. It doesn't mean you won't be hurt again. We
Yeah.
know we're going to get hurt again, right? But it doesn't mean that you close yourself off to such a degree that you never allow yourself to bless somebody or be blessed by somebody. You don't know what's waiting on the other side of that blessing. You have no idea, but I guarantee you it's always something good. Always. Even if I've had occasions where I've blessed somebody and it didn't go the way I thought. But you know what? From the beginning, I set out with Bless because people would ask, well, what if they take what you give them and they sell it? Or what if, whatever the scenarios are negative that you can think of, right? Because we always tend to lean that way. And I decided from the beginning, if it's on my heart to bless somebody, I've released it. And whatever they do with it from there is up to them. It's not my concern. And that's it. And when you give that way, that's no strings attached. It's actually more freedom for you than you think. It frees them up because you're releasing it, but it frees you up too because you don't have to monitor their life.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest part about the no strings attached. You let it go, and I think that's important. It probably feels good to the person who's receiving that there's no strings attached there. You're not judging them because I think strings equal judgment. I just love how it must feel for those who receive it and the ripple effect afterwards.
Definitely. And then you know what, just trying to help people's lives be better. So we like to say they can share needs without judgment, but not without accountability, because we want to see your life be better. And that's where we will encourage you. If you're in a constant state of need, what do you have to give back, right?
Yeah.
Let's just open up people's eyes to see, but beyond their need. They don't even realize sometimes. I've been thanked so many times just for pointing out that they have something to give in the midst of their need. They're like, well, you're right. You're right. I've had people say, oh, well, as soon as I get ahead, I'm like, you don't have to wait. You have
Yeah.
something to give right now. Oh, you're right. They just can't see sometimes. So it's our job to help people be better, right? It's our job to be that example for them. And so we want them to be accountable as well on Bless. And that's why Vouch for Me is there. That's why these gentle messages are there to say, hey, in the midst of your need, what do you have? What do you have to give? To get people thinking a different way, right? And what's the worst that could happen? If they leave Bless, then they don't belong there, because we want people there that want to change their lives.
Because I do think we feel like there's some hierarchy in the world, and sometimes I think we feel that I may be at the bottom of that. I'm not where I want to be. So I do think we believe that we don't have anything to give when we really do. Like you said, it is holding the door. So many ways that we can be that we are giving, whether it may be, math, and the kid down the street needs help with that. It's the
Exactly.
ripple effect, and not all of it is going to take place on Bless, but it's good for you to know about it, huh?
That's very true. It should take place outside of Bless as well, but Bless provides this pure platform where you can do it easily. So it's powerful. And what you'll find is once you start, you get addicted to it and it becomes a way of life for you. And you can't go a day without doing something for somebody else that brings some relief to them. I mean, isn't it wonderful when somebody makes your day a little easier? It's just it just gives you this breath of fresh air, right? Now, if you could be that way for somebody else,
Yeah.
that's what I live for. If I can make your day a little easier, a little lighter, man, then I've had a great day, because I have brought relief to somebody that was maybe so stressed out, but I spoke a word, or I gave a smile, or I was just there for them when they needed it, or I sent this random text message to say, you know what, I'm just thinking of you, just sending love and hugs.
Yeah.
You don't know what that can do for a person.
Yeah.
It could save their very life. So don't underestimate the power behind that.
So what's next for Tara? What's next for you?
Oh man, until this mission to change the whole world is accomplished, this is it for Bless. We're going to keep rolling until this whole world is impacted through the power of Bless. We're working on a lot of different projects right now. There's a lot of things in the works. We'll be adding community resources into Bless. I'm hoping by the end of this year. We're working on some other big things. And beyond that, eventually we will see Bless for desktop, so that no one's exempt. Everyone has access to this gift. And I'm looking for those Blessed supply houses. I'll start here in my local community, where we can have a place where if people want to give items, they can give them furniture or whatever, where people can come and buy without money, and where Bless can distribute. So y'all be looking eventually for those Blessed trucks heading around your towns to make deliveries and offer helping hands and be there for people. It's gonna change a lot of lives. So this is my mission, Christina. So until this world has been changed through this, I'm like a bulldog on a bone, man. I got my face set.
You are a woman to be reckoned with, and I know that you'll do it. You've done so much already that I know that it's just going to continue and get bigger.
That's it.
What an amazing legacy.
Well, thank you. If we can impact generations with this, then that's the thing. If we can leave this for children in the years to come, if we can set this example for our kids. I don't have any children of my own, but I have my little niece. She's 2 years old, and she's going to be a world changer like her auntie. She's going to make a difference and show people that there's goodness and there's kindness out there, because we need each other. We're stronger together.
Oh, that's so true. Thank you, Tara, for being with me today. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. The We as Citizens podcast, because conversation matters.